Hello and welcome to another Toonkind at 12 FPS. My name is Winona, and I'll be playing someone a little bit different today. It's a character that was first shown off in, in a previous game of mine, with Quest for the Pale Flower. I'll be playing a Pendragon today, who is just a little tressum, electric tressum.
She's a gibby,
Yes.
little gibby.
And I am with the amazing, the wonderful, my dearest friend.
Hi, my name is Whis. I've been awake for 1 hour exactly, and I'm playing Selli Alamos today. This is my third FPS this week. Cannot and will not be stopped.
Which is fair. Fair enough. Yeah, and Jewel has been Jewel has been in and out of the apartment ever since Scribble has not since Scribble. Ever since Marigold has brought the cat back to the apartment. Jewel is, for those who don't know, a Uda Magicae too, just like Scratch, but she is a much older one. So she's been not only looking after Scribbles, but also them doing research notes, so Scribbles isn't always bored. But again, indoor outdoor cat, they go in and out of their places a little bit more lately, since Scribbles now is almost back up to par right now. He is about to the level that he can get Scratch back, but he's not quite there yet.
Selli has been very, very hard on Scribbles, actually. It's like, no, you are not doing any research. Go to bed. Go away from the table. You are not doing any work. Go to bed.
Does work in bed.
Gosh. Does she have spells that would affect that? I'm just trying to think.
Do clerics get sleep? I forget.
Clerics get sleep.
I just thought about that.
If they do, they don't get it at her level.
Not only the Twilight Domain does.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, she ain't that.
Nope. But yeah, where's Selli right now?
Well, she's been doing her best to do the. I'm just gonna come out and say it, the housewife thing, which she is not at all accustomed to, and doesn't exactly know what she's doing. But she's making sure there's food in the house and making sure that everybody in the house eats said food and all that sort of stuff, and keeping the place clean, etc. Stuff that Scribbles was in the process of teaching her how to do because she's had servants all her life up until now. But now just trying to figure it out on her own while Scribbles is recovering. And she is at the point now where she needs to go out to the supermarket, so I think she's gonna head over to the bedroom and give Scribbles a kiss, whether or not he's awake or not, and just whisper that she's gonna go out.
Let's roll and see if he's awake or not. 10 and above that he's awake. Nope, he's fast asleep.
Okay. So she's just gonna give him a little headbutt kiss in the way that she does, and just whisper that she's going to the supermarket so that it's been said, and then head out to go and get supplies, I guess.
Yeah. So you're on your way out. You actually open the door to see Jewel about to open the door themselves and let themselves in, because they they were given a spare key too she was giving basically Scribbles key since she was going in and out pretty frequently, and so she doesn't have to use the window.
That's weird. If I was a magical flying cat, I'd want to go in and out the window. But okay, maybe that's just me.
So you're face to face to a flying cat. It's like, oh, here, I say, where are you going?
Oh, hello, Joel. I'm just going out to the supermarket to get some more supplies.
Ah, I need to get some stuff too. Give me 1 second, and I'll come with you.
Oh,
As she then flies inside to where her little pack is. Like Marigold brought her in basically a kitty backpack. That was fun. Jewel totally enjoyed that. and 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 brings out a paper in one paw and a what looks to be an orb in another, but it's cracked. And he's like, "Here, can you hold this orb for me? Unfortunately, depending on how far we go, I'll need my being with me because Selli would know that this particular this crystal orb, is like is the equivalent to Scratch's spell book. That's their body.
Okay. Selli will take the orb very carefully when it was offered out. It's a shame that it's damaged.
Scribble. No, Jewel just flicks it here and doesn't comment to that as she starts flying out of the room. Was like, well, come on, better get started.
All right. And she's just gonna follow on after and close the door, lock it. Off they go to the market. Oh dear. Sally's sitting there going, oh dear, social faux pas maybe? Oh dear.
Yeah, starts the same with Jewel too. It's probably quiet until like they get outside. She's like, so, how have you been?
I've been quite well, I think. Making do, learning lots. That's all I really can do at the moment.
She nods. Yeah, that's fair. Sorry that I haven't been really around. I mean, I've tried to look after him, but this world is pretty much brand new to me since I haven't been back in Equal in 1,000 years or so, give or take.
Well, there's been a few erasures since then, so I imagine it's completely different.
Yeah. So I've been mainly trying to get the lay of the land, and now that I think I've sort of have, I want to really start in earnest on the project that I've been thinking of doing for Scribbles.
A project?
Hey, he's gonna need a new spell book, so might as well start making one for him.
Oh, I... I wouldn't have thought about making a spell book. I had sort of assumed that it was something that you would perhaps purchase and then attune to in some way?
You can, but I've made a spell book like this one I'm thinking of making before for one of my kids. Say that we won't ever have to worry about it being ever damaged again.
That's definitely something that we'd be interested in. Goodness.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure what material this, and she just sort of puts another hand on top of the orb she's holding, is made of, but a book is ultimately very fragile.
He nods. It's made out of my being is made out of a pretty thick crystal, but you're not wrong. Is to say, the books are usually pretty fragile, and even though by technicality, scribes wizards can get any spell book and re-put it into any other spell book. This situation is a lot more delicate.
'Cause it's not just a spell book. It's scratch as well.
She nods again. Yeah. So making one that doesn't get destroyed easily is a very good idea.
Mm. No, I would definitely agree. And Sally's gonna look down at this orb, what is actually jewel, and I feel as though this is something that probably has been tried before, but she's just gonna try it anyway, just in case. Can she use the mending cantrip on that crack?
My gosh, I can't believe you're doing this. Yes, you can.
Okay, cool. She's
How-
gonna cast mending.
However, immediately when you do that, Jewel like feels it and he's like, "Hey, stop that!"
She's gonna go really stiff. And she just stopped. And is just looking at them.
I know what you're thinking, or at least similar to it. It's cracked. It's damaged. I will eventually die if nothing fixes it. But that's my choice. She's now very stiff herself. It's hard when you lose everything. And though I have for the time started learning to open up, I haven't fully decided if I want to continue being cracked immortal or becoming immortal again. So until I make that choice, I humbly request that you don't fix it.
Oh, I'm sorry. It mm, it just looked like it hurt.
She flinches. It did. But not anymore. What's done is done. And look, it's a very complicated situation. Yeah, you again when you lose someone that is really close, that makes you wonder if you can live without them.
Sally's gonna look over her shoulder in the direction that they've come at that remark. I I think I understand. But is this hurt just a physical hurt, or is it in your heart as well? Still?
Sorry, Whis, say that again.
Oh god, Sally, please speak up. Uh, is this hurt just a physical one, or is it in your heart too? And keeping this crack, keeping the wound open.
It was quiet. Yeah, you could both. As she then like touches her chest to where that red mark is.
Mm. I won't repair it if you do not want me to. And if keeping yourself vulnerable is the only reason why you haven't decided on how to go about tending your physical form, then that is your choice to make. But if it's for grief, it's not going to be doing you any good, or anyone who cares for you any good, to let that grief break you.
It's, again, complicated. I'm not saying you ain't wrong, but doing having that crack at least sort of gives me a timer. I had to figure out before the time is up. But if you don't mind, I'd rather not talk about this any longer.
Of course. Is it alright if I put this in my hammer space for safekeeping?
Oh yeah, you're fine about that. You can put it in your hammer space.
She will do so. It's the only reason why she hadn't done so before, and she's like, do I have to carry this? I'm not sure.
Which is fair. You've only met one other Magic K, and that was Scratch.
Mm-hmm. And like, yeah, sure, the spellbook might have been in Scribbles' hammer space, but there's a distinct link between Scratch and Scribbles that she doesn't have. I don't know that she would be willing to put Scratch's spellbook in her hammer space. That would not make her comfy.
Yeah.
Oh dear. All right, so she's gonna put it in her hammer space so that she's not holding onto it, and therefore can sort of, okay, I don't have to look at this anymore. We're not talking about that anymore. Okay, good.
Eh. Why don't you tell a little bit about yourself? We haven't really gotten to know each other through this recovery time.
I suppose not. Well, I'm 25. I grew up in the Independent Isles. I've only been here for hasn't been a year yet, but I'm keen to stay. So I'm not sure how I'm going to approach my future, to be honest. How to go about addressing the subject of not going back to the Isles. But until my mission is complete, I don't have to worry about it too much.
Shin?
We have a library in Alamos town, and it's lacking. There were Scribbles visited and pointed out that there were whole topics that were completely missing from the library. And I am a follower of Unbekant, if you're familiar. And it is part of my duty as a member of his faith to ensure that knowledge is not withheld, is not missing, is available to all. So I've been collecting different texts on druidic magic and a few other subjects to send home.
He nods. And he's like, oh yeah, heard about them. Interesting. And you say only druidic magic, eh? You know, that kind of surprises me. I would assume something like necromancy or something, but druidic? I don't know, that's just nature magic, man.
That's what Scribbles said. I have not spoken to my father about it, and I am not convinced he would tell me even if I did, but I feel as though, well, we've learned some things that I suspect my father might be the reason behind it. Which makes it all the more complicated on whether or not I want to go home or not.
Do you even want to go home? How long have you two been dating?
She blushes a little. Uh, it's been a few months, but
It, sorry, you go.
I don't know that I would want to go back without him or Scratch or Marigold. But I couldn't ask them to move back with me, and I can't imagine that my father would be particularly keen having them there in the first place. He doesn't like outsiders.
I see. Interesting. So, if you've dated for that long, has the question popped up?
She's just gonna look at her and tilt her head to the side.
There's the knife cat grin. Come on, I'm a grandma. I am obligated to ask. Have you talked about marriage?
Oh, now she's blushing a lot. Like, the thought had not actually crossed her mind, but now she's like, has Scribbles said anything to that effect? Uh, no, we haven't, I don't think.
I mean, he hasn't said anything, but come on. Sorry, but I'm a grandparent. I have to ask.
She's just she's kind of slowed down in her walking pace and she's just vividly blushing.
It's still that wry smile of a very mischievous grandparent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. She's not saying anything. She's just she's stuck in her own head a little bit now. It's like, marriage? What?
What? Come on. What's your thoughts on it? I say, you think he's the one? And there's a little paw pat on her shoulder.
I want you to imagine the intense anime blush where it kind of just overtakes their entire color palette.
Yeah.
She's just sort of doing that. And like she is glowing a little bit as well, but like she's so stunned at this point. She's like, wait, what? She doesn't have any words. She just sort of puts a hand on her cheek and is just blushing a lot. I don't think Joel even needs to roll an insight to be able to figure out her thoughts on the matter.
So you have been thinking of it.
Not specifically, but oh my goodness. Oh. And she's just a little bit. She just sort of starts muttering a little bit, like almost wordlessly, but she's just like a bit stunned and completely flustered at this stage.
Uh, I mean, when Emily was young, she didn't even think of it either when she first met Alfred. But God, took her more than a couple months to realize that maybe say marriage might be an idea.
Selli doesn't respond with words, but her glow does get a bit brighter.
Alfred, that crazy old bastard. Show off too, honestly. He was an alchemist by trade, but he was a pretty good wizard himself. But we of course butt heads because one alchemist to another, we always want to one up each other. Also gotta make sure that he's up to snuff and par to my Emily.
I yes, I've heard that parents can be a bit like that. Luckily, I think Scribbles' family likes me. I can't say that my father would approve, but I. Hmm. And the glow kind of dies down and her shoulders slump a little bit, and she's sort of staring off into the middle distance a little bit, deep in thought.
Mm, father issues, eh? It sounds like it. But if you really, let's see, if you really love him, I mean, you're, let's see, I mean, I don't know much about your situation, so I'm not very sure how good my advice will be, but if you know he's the one, then go for it.
I. If I'm quite honest, I don't really know that much about my situation myself. My father is not exactly a forthcoming person. I don't know much about him apart from what other people have told me, and the more people tell me, the worse it sounds.
Cock. Eh, maybe it's just me being old, but that sounds a bit strange. The daughter don't know her own father that well.
He was, I suppose, aloof. He was never unkind to me. He got me anything that I wanted, but I've seen the way that Scribbles' family interacts with him and the way that my brother's new family interacts with him. My father never did that. He was there. I could always talk to him if I wanted. We would sometimes sit and read together, but he prioritized his work over spending time with me when it came down to it.
He was a shit father.
I. Hmm,
No one should ever prioritize their work over their children. Even in our worst times, me and Emily and Alfred always made time for our children.
hmm. I don't know if he knew how. It always seemed like some sort of business transaction.
I hear about this guy, the more I hate him.
You're not alone in that. I won't. I won't bore you with the things we've learned so far, but I'm not sure how to go about dealing with it. It does make me want to go back less and less.
Just don't go back then. Simple as that. Probably won't even notice.
Oh, he'll notice. He knows I left. And he didn't want me to go at first, but. Well, being able to. Being able to cite the needs of our deity does help matters. He didn't stop me. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Honestly, if you want my opinion from an old crone, I say tell him that you love Scribbles, tell him that you're gonna be moving here, and I say whatever your job is done, I say, well, he had his chance.
Hmm. Hopefully it goes
Eh,
that simply.
eh, maybe not, but I am a little bit old fashioned in a way. Simple say simple solution to a simple problem. He ain't say if he doesn't really well care about you, like not care, but you know him like he should be with his daughter. He should like get to know his daughter. It shouldn't be a business transaction every time you meet. You say you deserve your own happiness in your own family, so just go for that.
Hmm. Your blunt way of speaking is quite refreshing, I must say.
Just speak what I say most of the time. There's not many. I don't go for all the flowery language that other people do. And say I'm usually quite frank.
There is a skill to that, I think.
She does that so hand motion, but with her paw.
And I think by then
But
they've probably arrived at the store they were going to.
yeah, it's like, and she's like, well, here's the store. So you won't I say we won't find what I need here most likely, but you get your stuff done first, and we can get my stuff done after that.
What sorts of things were you looking for?
Oh, magical ingredients. I'm gonna need a good bit of them for this spell book.
Ah, all right. Well, maybe they do have a section for magical ingredients, but I feel as though they're probably a bit too common for what you have in mind. But
See, I mean,
we can
this is
look.
a new world to me. Maybe they've really changed, and you don't have to like ping pong across every single town and city to get all the ingredients you need.
I don't know, but we can look anyway.
All right.
Now, am I going to roll them something for doing the groceries?
To
Yes.
say, I feel like for like normal stuff, no, but for magical stuff, yes.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. She is able to get her fruit and juice and tea and etc. that she needed to buy. And then I guess we'll roll an investigation to see whether or not they can find other stuff.
Yeah, let's roll investigation.
15's not bad.
You know, her investigation isn't bad either, so
Except that's a nat 1.
this cat is just confuzzled by a supermarket. This is not how it was 1,000 years ago. There's so many brands and stuff. They have never seen this before. It's just like, what the heck is going on? It's just like, I see products, I see food, but why is it packaged this way? Why does it look like that? There's no bags or anything, there's just boxes and cans.
Some things still come in bags. Oh dear, dear. I take it you haven't been to a supermarket since you've come back to Angwell.
And even supermarket back when I was in Inkwell, there was no such thing.
Well, I suppose welcome to your first supermarket experience. What sorts of things are you looking for?
I say, for at least, I don't know. That looks like to be like, if I could find some plants, if I could find some magical plants here, maybe, or stuff to make potions.
If we can't find everything, I do know that there is an apothecary nearby. They might have more.
Good, apothecaries are still a thing. Thank the gods.
Though I think they're probably more specialty products, depending on what you need. And with that 15, I'm going to say that Selli is going to navigate towards the magical ingredients section.
Yeah, there's
a section.
There's definitely a section for it.
It's like right next to the Asian section where you get all your ramen noodles and your instant curry cubes and your whatnot. And then your Mexican section on the other side with your taco shells and seasoning and stuff.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, gosh.
And she sees like the potion make where supper potion like, ah, yes. They they look different. I mean, I'm not surprised, but God, they sound all different. I say it looks like they have almost everything that I need for it. I say the apothecary should probably have the rest for at least the potion making sort of side of it because I say I'm proud of this. I make my books from scratch. However, how I make this book in particular for the say for like the solution to like put it in and stuff, the how you make the pulp is to say I let it soak in a sort of magical concoction, and then I get fibers for magical plants for the pulp and everything. It's just like it's a whole process. I have perfected it over the years.
Oh, so when you were talking about making a book, you're not only like binding it yourself, but making the paper and the covers from
Yep.
scratch.
Uh-huh. That's the
Oh,
only way I know how to make stuff.
I haven't tried bookbinding before, but I've read a lot about it.
It'd be
There's
really fun.
quite a few books on the subject, which is a little bit funny in a way.
It is a little bit ironic, isn't it?
My favorite one had a very strange binding and a beautiful leather cover.
Yeah. And depending on what the cover is made of, it has to be binded in a certain way. My idea for this book is get a nice leather cover.
Hmm. I don't know that we'd be able to get leather at the supermarket somehow, but I think we could definitely find somewhere. There's bound to be somewhere where you can get those materials.
Because is there like is there a place to get leather? Like, is there a leather shop? Usually, it really depends. When I was back in the day, there was usually sometimes at the general store there's some. Other times they're like the armorers usually have leather that they get, and I just like pay for them there. It it's just God. There's so much new in here. Like I shouldn't be surprised, but ugh. So
So I
much
just
has
rolled a
changed.
history
Yeah.
and I got a nat 20.
Yeah.
Selli has been doing very good at learning where everything is in Toontown. This is a both a normal thing to want and possible to achieve. um, so she's just gonna smile and nod, and I think I know exactly where we can get the supplies that you need. There's quite a few tanners still in Toontown, and depending on what plants you want to make the paper from, I'm sure we can get those as well.
Thank God. Thank you so much. Ugh. That'd be perfect. I'll know when I see them. Hopefully, usually plants don't change. Hopefully. Probably. I really hope so.
Oh, well, they absolutely do, especially over a course of 1,000 years, but it usually takes a lot longer than that. But let's get these, what we can get from here, and then we can move on.
All right, that sounds good. That sounds good. She flies and gets all the ingredients that she needs, and like it takes a teeny bit just because she's like reading the labels and stuff, like what's made out of. Since she's an alchemist herself, so she knows exactly what she needs.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like very picky, choosy about what potion types of potions she gets. Like, oh, that's not bad. It's store brand, but it's actually better than this name brand. Okay, say interesting.
I love that.
But she eventually gets everything, and she's gonna actually go into her hammer space. Yes, and she pulls out a old say it's old by your standards because like no one carries golds really in bags anymore like this, a string draw bag. But there's some heft to it. There's like a whole bag of gold. He's like, here, you can use this to pay for everything. You don't have to worry about anything. I got it.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, I do have enough money for the groceries. It's not a huge in position to pay for these,
I mean, it's
especially
not that.
as it's for Scribble's benefit.
I got this. Don't worry about it, sweetie. I'm fine. I say I'll get the groceries today. I say you don't need to worry about it.
And she's gonna take a second and then smile and nod. That's very kind. Thank you. She'll take the gold and then trot off with her little basket towards the register, and they get to stand there while everything goes doot, doot, doot,
Yes.
ka-ching. Money is exchanged. Do the whole buying the groceries montage.
Yes, indeed.
Thank goodness they've got hammer spaces so they don't have to carry everything in big bags.
I know, right?
God,
I
I
wish
wish I
they.
had a hammer space.
I know. I was about to say. I wish hammer spaces were a thing in real life. It make life so much easier.
Yeah. Gosh. Personal like pocket dimension. When. Oh my gosh. Okay, so after they've done the groceries, Selli is going to lead the way to the tanner
Mhm.
for choosing some leather. Um is Jewel particularly picky about the kind of leather? Selli doesn't know much about leather, especially bookbinding leather. So she's going to let Jewel choose, but she's just going to facilitate the process.
Yeah. Say Jewel comes in there and she knows exactly what she wants.
Mhm.
And she, like, looks at everything, she's like, "Oh, this is really good. This is really good quality leather and different sort of, say, makes, nice, nice, okay. We can always do this, but no, that's gonna be a little bit too hard. What about this? Ooh, that's a bit done. And she eventually chooses out some leather to say, I'm guessing the shop also maybe has, like, leather specifically made for books.
Oh yeah,
So,
like they'd have their shoe weight leather and their pouch weight leather, and then they've got belts and then armor weight leather, and the medieval reenactment person in me is just going, all the things you can make from leather, my friend.
I
Um
know, right? It's one of those skills I've sort of, like, after, like, learning more about it, it's just like, "God, I wish I could know how to do that." Maybe when I have time and money, I can learn how to do leather stuff because I always thought it was really cool.
It's very cool. Um, so yeah, they will have, particularly seeing as while Inkwell is this sort of advanced, but sort of not. Bookbinding is still very much a thing. There aren't huge factory productions for making books. I'm just looking at my bookshelf going, these are all
Ye
just a whole bunch of signatures glued together. Like there's no
Mhm,
sewing or
mhm.
anything on those, apart from on my really fancy books that I've got on my top shelf.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
say, and I mean, this is also a world where wizards needs books all the time, so
yeah, so there'd definitely be book weight leather. And it'd come in like natural. Here it's all natural, although there would be probably a few pieces that would be dyed as part of the tanning process, although they're
yeah.
very expensive and probably a bit too fragile for what we're doing.
Yeah, I say she looks over at the all the letters like, huh, you know, I say, I haven't made this for a while. Maybe I say, we'll just go stick with the try and chew this leather. She just goes for the classic sort of tan brownish leather.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Pulling my fancy books off my shelf because it's right next to me, and I'm like, ooh, this is like a really
Nice.
good wizard book.
I say, and she takes a good sized strip of it. Like she's like a good sized strip of it is like I'll take and say, oh, I'll get some extra for myself for later. You never know. Well, need when you'll need extra leather.
How large of a book are we making?
Pretty good thick size. Not too thick, but a good size where he can make sure he can get all the spells down. Usually for scribes, they can save space because of the ink, because of how they manipulate the ink and everything. And book will get its own touch. Like it'll look brown for when I make it, but when he attunes to it and puts scratch in it, it may change colors. So this is a good starting letter.
Hmm. Do we need to do anything in particular to leave room for Scratch?
Say not for the leather in particular. The pages are more worrying than the leather, but I can infuse some magic into it. It, it's not as in depth of a process it is as the paper, you know?
Hmm. All right. Well, let's get this leather, and we'll find the plants you wish to make the paper from.
Sounds good. And they get the leather and everything and
Doot
go off.
ka-chung. Not that every store has a cash register, but anyway.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. It's still fun.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna roll with that nat 20
Yeah.
that she got
Yeah,
and say
that
that
that's
she knows
funny.
exactly what shop she needs to go to get this particular plant, some sort of nursery or something, I guess. And
Magical nursery. I'm guessing there's probably a magical nursery in Toontown.
yeah, yeah, it's big enough. It's not
Mhm.
something they have to go to the capital for. Um,
Mhm.
yep, cool. So Selly's just gonna lead the way there and let Jewel pick out what she wants, and all right.
Yeah, Jewel goes in there and she's like, "Dang, this is nice. This is a nice nursery." And say, I'm really glad that I was able to find you when I did.
Mhm. I don't like getting lost, so I've read a lot of maps and directories of the things that are available in Toontown, and it comes in handy every so often.
She nods. Yeah, it's a lot. This place is, well, there used to be a city here, but it's definitely grown since I've been here. So, of course, everything has changed and everything. Though that ECR, that,
ECCR.
yeah, that
The color
place.
registry. Yeah.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, it used to be a temple. Honestly, sort of glad that that's still there.
It survived the erasures. My goodness.
Yeah,
That's.
it's obviously has changed, but
Oh.
it's nice to have those small comforts, of things that you know. You know?
Hmm. Yes. No, I think I know exactly what you mean. Toontown has
But
taken a lot of getting used to, I must say. It's twice as large as the entire island I grew up on was.
honestly, I wouldn't beg to differ. That was probably 3 times as large, or 4 times. It's like, dang, this place is big.
Hmm. Popular too. There's so many people.
Yeah, definitely a lot to get used to. I agree. It's just like, I lived in a fat castle factory with all my automatons, but I knew all of them. I don't know all these people, and she gestures to with her wing to everyone else.
Yes. But I find that I don't mind that so much.
Bittersweet.
Hmm.
Definitely gonna say it'll definitely take me a year or two to get used to all this. Maybe when Scribbles is done all healing, I'll do some more traveling.
Well, there's definitely lots of places that are worth visiting.
Seems like it from what I have seen the maps of ugh, that Scribbles has.
Um,
Anyway,
yeah, so I guess they just go in and get their
yep,
plants and
they get their plants.
do
Cha-ching!
cha-ching. And all right, I guess they head back to Scribbles' apartment now.
Yeah.
All right, Cool. Selli's
And
keen.
they say, yes. And they and there and Jewel is smiling as they fly back. I gotta say, this has been a very productive day. I'm very happy.
Well, I'm glad I was able to assist.
And I'm glad again I was able to find you when I did.
Well, you know where to find me most other times, so if you need my assistance again in the future, I'm more than willing to help.
I'm glad to hear that. I'll be sticking to the apartment now though for a bit since I gotta ugh, get all the bookmaking stuff arranged. I'm sorry in advance how crowded and cluttered it's gonna be for a while.
That's all right. We're still well stocked with leftovers from the freezer. I'm not a very good cook, so you're free to take up as much room as you need.
Oh, I say, I know that I've heard from Scribble that say we don't have to technically eat us Magic Hay or Magic Hay. Yeah, that's what he's called us now. Oh, weird that we finally been recorded down. Sort of nice.
Hmm. Yes, I imagine it would be. To have a word for what it is you are and what you feel.
Yeah, kind of weird, but I don't know. It's just like we never thought about giving what were a name back then. Say we were just too busy trying to do other things.
Hmm. Well, I suppose if it's not a priority, why would you
Yeah,
bother?
she nods. Yeah, Emily and I spent a lot of time helping people, whether it be just a fix with a magical light object or say something else needs to be repaired that's magical. It's just like that was our whole thing. It's just like helping people. They say that's how the factory all started. It's just like there was a demand for magical items, and they say we did that service.
Hmm. I think that's a very, very noble way of conducting one's life. Seeing a need and filling it.
Say that. I haven't really thought about it in a while, but yeah, it was noble, wasn't it?
Did it make you happy doing that?
It did. It really did. But after everything that happened to the family, oh, felt isolated, felt alone, sort of gave up on myself and living. But that's all. It's beginning to change now.
There's still a lot of life left in you, Miss Jewel.
Yeah, I think there is too. It's just when you've been stuck in a way for such a long time, it's hard to be unstuck, you know?
Without the assistance of an outside force. Mm.
Yeah, an outside force that was a herd of children. God damn that Dr. Luma. I won't even say your name, old man. You're Dr. Luma now to me. And there's like an angry, like, cat fist to the sky.
Old cat shakes fist at sky. Sally's just politely giggling. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. All right.
Yes.
Well, I guess they get back to the apartment with no incident.
Yeah, they get back to the apartment. They go in. They close the door behind them, and not even 2 seconds later, rule of funny dictates that the door is knocked.
Blink, blink. Oh. And Selli just turns and opens the door again and leans out. Hello.
He sees this taller Franken Alley tune. Since you definitely know that he comes from a more noble background,
Mm-hmm.
say in the way he dresses, and his clothes are a mixture of a very dark fuchsia and purple. Say his hair is brown, which is tied back up into a very like short ponytail, and he looks again very regal, noble, and he's like wearing a what looks to be sort of a insignia on his clothes. Though you could roll history if you want.
I do want. I do in fact want. I do in fact want to have the right window selected. That's a 15.
Yeah, 15 will do it. They say you notice that this is the symbol of the university, UPA, and though it has a very small twist of like a spell book, which sort of looks very wizardly to you as he clears himself. Oh, I was hoping that you'd be here. Hello, I am Professor Princeton. I assume that you are Selli Alamos.
Uh, yes. Yes, I am. Professor, we weren't expecting you.
I yes, I came on my own accord. Uh, may I come in?
Uh, yes. I'm afraid Scribbles is asleep at the moment, but
Well,
yes.
I wanted to more specifically talk to you, and is Marigold here, his daughter?
No, she is not currently here.
Uh, I was hoping that you'd to say she'd be here when I was here, but I hope that, well, that you say this will be enough. Uh, sorry. He clears himself up. Is a final roll. You can tell he's very nervous.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
She's going to take a step back and open the door fully to let him in and make a gesture towards the kitchen table so that he can take a seat before closing the door behind
And
him.
he does. See, he goes to the kitchen table and takes a seat.
And she will do the good host thing that she practiced when Tonga came over the other day. She'll make him tea, and that's not so great tea, but it's
You know,
tea.
say Jewel's gonna help you,
Okay,
so
help action.
you have
Cool.
advantage. And she
It's still not great tea. She's kind of on edge having having Professor Princeton just show up. So it's like maybe it's not brewed enough or something. I don't know.
yeah,
But like she's put the tea down and she got the little
yeah,
bit tin of biscuits out of the cupboard.
yeah. And Jewel's just being very quiet at this moment. Like she definitely recognizes the name from what Scribbles has told her, but she's just gonna keep to the side for right now. Like she's like at a seat too with her own cup of tea, but she's just being quiet for right now, just observing.
Mm-hmm. So he's gonna
And maybe sorry,
yeah you go.
and maybe judging like a cat does.
Yep, that's fair. Sally's gonna sit down opposite him with her own cup of badly made tea and just sort of fold her hands on the table's top. So, how can I help you today, Professor?
It's I don't you don't I'm not looking for help per se. I wanted to come in person to apologize to you, and I was hoping Marigold too about what happened at the university.
There is this sort of cold sort of way that her body shifts a little, like she doesn't move. but you can tell that she has gone into I am displeased frame of mind.
Mm-hmm.
I see. I hope that you can appreciate, Professor, that a simple apology is not going to be of very much assistance.
He gives a small nod. I know. But this has been tormenting me ever since it's happened. And I didn't just want to write a letter, I wanted to fully apologize to you in person because I am extremely sorry and I regret not taking any actions at all to prevent this.
I must say I am rather disappointed at the conduct of the university as a whole. While I'm not going to excuse Scribbles' behavior when he was attending more regularly, I am baffled as to why nobody pulled him up on it up until now. Why it got to the point where other students were willing to commit assault and attempted manslaughter on a child over his behavior at the university.
Unfortunately, child is not how the headmistress thinks of the students there. Technically, everyone is a adult, and so they should be treated that way. And at least in her eyes, there was no need to interfere.
Forgive me, but I distinctly disagree. That I was not referring to Scribbles when I was speaking about a child. Those
Even
students that attacked us destroyed Scribbles' spellbook, which had the soul of our son inside it.
he does give another nod. I see what you're saying now. And you're right. That did happen to a child. And
adults or not, why one student's poor behavior would be overlooked in favor of good grades is beyond me. Not only does that put that student in danger, but it also does not serve the education of the other students.
hey, you want to roll an insight for me?
Sure. 22! My girl!
Yes. So he like stiffens and stuff and sort of it's very slight, but it's sort of that sort of proper way of hiding something. And you get the feeling like this is not a one case sort of thing. Maybe not to the level of Scribbles, but you sort of get maybe a slight idea that maybe this situation has happened before with other students.
Ooh. Does he want to roll an insight on her?
Yes. Let me pull up his sheet. What's your insight? Actually, not bad. I haven't used you for a very long time, and I'm very happy I'm able to use you again. That's a 16.
That's a 16. Okay. So what's the best way to visualize this? Probably that thing where the background sort of starts to get a bit darker around her. Like she's not a dark type, so it's not like an actual physical darkness, but you know how they do that thing where they darken the background in order to sort of give that tense
Yes,
feeling to the
so.
foreground.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So she's still just sort of sitting there with her hands clasped on the table, and she hasn't moved. But the doom levels in the room have increased a little bit. Professor, uh, it would it be incorrect of me to assume that poor behaving yet well performing students are given a free pass, where those who require more attention are not given what they need?
Is silent, but his silence speaks words. And also, you don't also need to tell he's extra. He that doom and gloom. He has noticed that age. He's like, oh shoot.
Like, I mean, a part of me wants to roll an intimidation, but at the same time, uh,
Should we get it? Say should we get an advantage? I will say that.
all right, let's see what happens. Okay, I'm going with the
Yeah,
15 on the now one.
yeah. He is intimidated by this dude.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I find that such a practice is contrary to the spirit of education. How very disappointing from one of the greatest universities in Anquo.
You he like slowly takes in a breath and releases it. He's like, you are right. And you had every ounce of anger that you have towards me is fully justified. I am not going to dismiss my wrongdoings. I take sole responsibility in this. And I, again, just, I will make an effort to fix this so no other students in my wizard college will have to ever go through what has happened.
An effort, Professor. A effort.
Yes, an effort.
If such a practice is commonplace in your department, I would be very surprised if it didn't happen in other departments, especially with what you have told me of the headmistress.
Yes.
This is not a your department problem, is it, Professor? This is a university-wide issue.
Hmm.
The gifted should not thrive at the expense of the ungifted or those who need more support. That is not the purpose of education.
He nods again.
I find that I am not satisfied with you promising to make an effort. If you cannot sit there and tell me that you will change the practices in your department, then I'm not inclined to take your word seriously, Professor.
I promise you that I will change how things are run in my college. And we will change the practices to make everyone better.
Has it been some time since you taught face to face? Or are you more of an administrator now?
I try to be face to face when I can. But I will be honest with you. And he sort of looks down. I'm only 35. I am the minimum that a department head should is in this university. I am the youngest. I am still learning how to be, well, a department head, really.
you given any support or training? She asks in a very pointed way.
No, ma'am.
Right. This is not something that I am willing to let go, Professor.
And I do not blame you for not wanting to let go.
There is more than one reason for things to improve at that university. Not localized to just what happened to Scribbles and Scratch, but in general. And I don't think that I can abide what's happening there. I don't think that I am even remotely permitted to abide by it.
Do you want to make
So,
another insight?
yep. Yes! 22 again!
You just make it on the DC checks. It's just like it's again very subtle, but it's just like his face goes from worry to fear, but it's not fear of her. It's fear of something else.
Oh man, I keep looking over at Selli's sheet, and she has the position of privilege feature. It's just, oh my god, you're really gonna lean into that nobility thing, aren't you, kid? Oh god. I say kid.
So like,
She's
because
25.
technically Princeton is a noble himself.
Yep.
So I just love this.
Oh, cool. Hmm. Professor, I serve unbekannt, and I don't think that he would appreciate if the education of anyone was stifled in any way. So while we possibly do not have the time to speak about all the details here and now, I believe you will be hearing a lot more from me in the future.
I can see your determination, and I will help in any way I can.
I'm glad to hear that. And if you can show me with your actions rather than your words, then perhaps I might forgive you.
I really can't ask you any more than that after what has all happened.
And she just gives a nod, and I will contact you when Scribbles has recovered some more, when I will be attending the university, and we can talk about what needs to happen next.
To say, Professor Princeton nods. That sounds like a plan, Miss Alamos.
Thank you for coming, Professor.
Thank you for allowing me to talk.
I will let Marigold know that you came.
He nods again.
Pass on your words of apology.
And I I know he's a friend, but that other professor, I would appreciate if you passed on the word to him too. I just only knew where you and Marigold lived. I didn't know where this other professor did.
I can pass on a message for you as well. Yes.
He gives another little nod. He's like, "Thank you."
And I suppose at that point, Selli is going to stand up. I suppose as the sign that the meeting is finished.
And so does Princeton. He stands up too, and is it? I'm guessing he's being led to the door,
Yes.
and he gives a is he gives a little smile as he sees her as he goes outside door. I hope you have a good rest of your day, ma'am.
Thank you, Professor. Travel safe on the way home.
And I will. And he walks down the hallway to like the stairs.
She'll wait until he's out of view before closing the door with a click. Take a deep breath. Let it out very slowly. And then she's going to go and make a better cup of tea. Which I'm not
And
going to roll
Jules,
for her. I'm just going to say she's having a better cup of tea than that.
yeah, and Jules just like nods at this. Is like, well, this might as well happen for today.
I think her next thing, after giving the guys some time to get away from the apartment, she's going to go to the library and look up how to run a
Yeah.
university for dummies.
Which I'm pretty sure there is one. However, we do not end this FPS on this scene of her at the library. We then pan over to the streets of Toontown, which Professor Princeton, or his first name, Luke, is walking down. The streets have fallen quiet as he makes his way to the teleportation station. He doesn't really notice this though, as his mind was preoccupied with the conversation he just had with Selli. And he's just like, he was glad that he did this. Like, after what happened, just being able to apologize in person was so relieving to him. However, he was nervous. The university didn't know he was here. She didn't know he was here. And when she finds out, Professor Princeton, the world turned very cold for Luke as he whipped around, eyes widened. Headmistress, silence! I did not say you could speak. Luco lost all words as he stood in terror of the woman in front of him. Her pink scales freshly polished, her lavender dress seeming no wrinkle in sight, and her clawed hands holding a pink book with an obsidian pen. You disappoint me. You were doing such a good job, and now you go behind my back and do this? I'm truly heartbroken. But I guess what's done is done, and now you must be punished. She then wrote down something in her book, and with her predatory eyes on him, she smiles. Follow me. Luke's right hand started to glow pink as what looks to be a signature appears on the back of his hand, his expression going neutral as he followed her. It's truly a shame. You were such an excellent addition to my horde. And the scene fades to black.
Okay. Oh, way to pull that one out of left field, Nona. Oh, this is gonna be good.
Yes.
Oh.
I'm very excited when she comes into play.
Oh boy. God. Well, I guess Sally's got herself involved in something.
Maybe a bit. But
Maybe a bit. Oh, heck.
thank you all for listening in on this 12 FPS. I
Uh,
certainly had a good time.
Anytime where I get to pull out the intimidation nobility is a fun time.
Yes, I totally loved it with Selli. It was truly a sight to see.
I just have to sit like her when I do that. Like, I actually have to have my hands clasped on the table and straight back and, oh boy, you're in for it
Sometimes you
now.
I was gonna say sometimes you just have to be like physically in character. It's just like I
Yeah,
love it.
it's good. Oh dear.
Yep. And again, thank you everyone for listening in. I hope you have a good time zone. Bye.
Toodaloo.